Have you ever wondered why the loudest person in the room rarely holds the real power? Why the ones who seem quiet, calm, and unnoticed end up winning in the end? Here's the truth. The greatest victories are won in silence, not noise. The sharpest minds don't waste energy proving themselves. They master the game quietly, moving in ways others never even see coming. In this video, I'm going to reveal 7 powerful Buddhist lessons that will teach you how to outsmart everyone. Silently, secretly, and without a drop of stress. Ready to discover the hidden art of quiet domination? Let's begin. 1. Master the power of observation. Before reaction, the silent mind is the strongest mind because it's not busy rushing to prove, defend, or attack. Imagine you're in a conversation where someone starts to get angry or defensive. Most people will immediately react. Their heart rate rises, their voice sharpens, their thoughts start racing. But the one who has trained their mind through observation, as taught in Buddhism, stays still inside. This doesn't mean you become passive or weak. It means you watch before you act. Observation is a form of power because it allows you to gather information before making a move. Instead of jumping to conclusions, you pay close attention to body language, tone of voice, word choice, and emotional cues. You see what the other person is really feeling, their insecurities, their triggers, their blind spots. You understand that people often reveal their weaknesses when they're emotional, but you stay calm and steady, like a mountain that's not shaken by the wind. In Buddhism, mindfulness teaches you to be fully present without judgment. You become like a mirror, reflecting reality as it is, not distorting it with your own opinions or reactions. This quiet, sharp attention allows you to spot opportunities others miss. While they're busy reacting, you're quietly gathering insight. Outsmarting someone silently doesn't mean speaking first or louder. It means seeing first, seeing deeply, calmly, and clearly. Only when you truly understand what's unfolding can you choose the most effective, precise response. 2. Use emptiness as your advantage. In Buddhist philosophy, emptiness, known as shunyata, doesn't mean being hollow or worthless. It means being open, flexible, and free from rigid attachment. Think of it like a cup. If it's already full, you can't pour anything new into it. But if it's empty, it has space to receive. This is where your silent advantage begins. Most people walk through life weighed down by their ego, their need to prove themselves, their craving for recognition, their attachment to status, success, or identity. These attachments make them predictable and fragile. They get defensive when challenged, desperate when ignored, and angry when they lose. But when you embrace emptiness, you drop the need to cling to anything. You no longer need to win every argument or show off your strength. You are light, adaptable, and free. Using emptiness as your advantage means you can flow where others get stuck. If someone tries to pull you into drama, you can let it pass without engaging. If someone challenges you, you can smile and walk away because you don't need to prove yourself. Where they are burning energy trying to control everything, you can serve yours by holding nothing too tightly. You can change direction, shift your approach, or even leave situations entirely without feeling like you've lost. Buddhism teaches that form is emptiness, and emptiness is form, meaning that everything we cling to is ultimately temporary and fluid. When you deeply understand this, you stop wasting energy trying to control what cannot be controlled. Instead, you become a master of the silent, flexible path. You outsmart not by overpowering, but by releasing. You win not by clenching your fists, but by opening your hands. 3. Understand the true nature of desire. At the heart of human behavior is one powerful force, desire. People are moved by what they want, whether it's money, love, power, approval, or comfort. But here's the secret Buddhism teaches. Desire is both a motivator and a chain. It drives people forward, but it also makes them predictable, anxious, and easily controlled. When you understand the nature of desire, you start seeing how others are ruled by it. You notice how quickly someone's mood changes when they get praise or when they're ignored. You see how people overwork themselves because they crave status, or how they bend their values to fit in because they crave approval. These patterns make them easy to predict. And if you can predict someone's behavior, you silently hold power over them. But here's the deeper part. Buddhism teaches that the real secret is not using others' desires against them. It's freeing yourself from your own. Most people are so entangled in wanting more that they never feel peace. They exhaust themselves chasing external rewards, yet always feel something is missing. When you train your mind to loosen its grip on craving, you become something rare. A person who cannot be baited, bribed, or shaken. Imagine being the one in the room who doesn't need attention, who isn't hungry for approval, who isn't desperate for validation. That makes you untouchable. Outsmarting everyone silently begins with mastering your own desires. Because once you no longer need what they dangle in front of you, you can see clearly and move wisely while they remain trapped by their own wants. 4. Respond, don't react. One of the most powerful ways to outsmart everyone silently is to master how you handle pressure, especially in moments of conflict, challenge, or surprise. Most people are trapped in a reactive mindset. When someone insults them, they snap back. When something stressful happens, they panic. When someone disagrees with them, they rush to defend themselves. This kind of automatic reaction is exactly what makes people predictable, emotional, and easy to control. Buddhism teaches something radically different. Respond, don't react. What's the difference? Reacting is instant and emotional. It's like throwing a match on dry leaves. It's impulsive, often regrettable, and usually based on old patterns or ego. Responding, on the other hand, is thoughtful and intentional. It means you take a pause between the stimulus, what's happening, and the response, what you choose to do. You give yourself space to breathe, observe, and act with wisdom. Imagine someone trying to provoke you. Maybe they insult you, challenge you, or undermine you in front of others. A reactive person will immediately feel anger rise. Their voice will sharpen and they'll jump into defense mode. But a mindful responder will feel the heat inside, recognize it, and pause. They'll take a breath, observe the other person's behavior, and then decide, is this even worth addressing? Do I need to speak here, or is silence more powerful? Sometimes they will answer calmly. Sometimes they will walk away entirely. But whatever they do, it comes from conscious choice, not from blind emotion. This pause is a silent superpower. It makes people wonder, why is this person so calm? Why aren't they reacting like everyone else? It unsettles those who try to control you with emotions. It gives you the upper hand without you ever raising your voice. By responding instead of reacting, you waste no energy, you stay centered, and you maintain your power. Remember, the sharpest mind is not the one that fights every battle. It's the one that chooses its moves with precision. Outsmarting others silently is not about overpowering them. It's about mastering yourself so deeply that they can't shake you, no matter what they throw your way. 5. Play the long game, not the short win. Most people are obsessed with immediate victories. They want to win the argument today, get recognition today, prove their point today. But this obsession with short-term wins often leads them into traps. They burn bridges, exhaust themselves, or lose sight of the bigger picture just to feel they won right now. Buddhism, however, teaches a deeper wisdom. Life is a long path, not a short race. Outsmarting everyone silently means knowing when to let go of small victories so you can achieve something far greater in the long run. Imagine this: someone criticizes you unfairly in front of others. Most people would rush to defend themselves immediately, needing to prove they're right. But when you're playing the long game, you understand that one small confrontation doesn't define you. You don't need to win today because you're working towards something bigger. You know that your consistent actions, your steady growth, and your quiet focus will speak louder over time than any single argument ever could. The long game is about patience, strategy, and trust. It's about focusing on building your character, your reputation, your skills, your path, rather than wasting energy on every small battle. People who play the short game are reactive and scattered. They want instant validation, but they often burn out or expose their weaknesses in the process. When you play the long game, you're calm. You let others get distracted by ego while you quietly keep moving forward. Buddhism reminds us of the impermanence of life. Nothing lasts forever. Not success, not failure, not praise, not blame. When you internalize this, you stop chasing small highs and instead focus on steady, meaningful progress. You understand that true power isn't about proving something in the moment. It's about becoming someone strong, wise, and unshakable over time. So let others scramble for attention, quick wins, or petty victories. You, the silent, outsmarting mind, stay focused on your bigger journey. And when the time is right, you'll realize you've surpassed them all. Not by fighting, but by patiently outgrowing. 6. Master the art of disappearance. One of the most underestimated but powerful strategies in outsmarting people silently is this: know when to disappear. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, heard, and validated every second, stepping back is a rare and strategic move. Buddhism teaches the wisdom of withdrawal, not as a sign of weakness or defeat, but as a powerful choice to conserve energy, protect your peace, and regain clarity. Think about it. When someone attacks you or tries to pull you into conflict, they're expecting you to fight back. They feed off your reaction. They want your energy. But when you disappear, when you walk away without explanation, when you go quiet instead of engaging, when you remove yourself from toxic circles, you break the game entirely. Suddenly they have no one to battle. They are left confused, wondering what you're thinking, why you're not playing their game anymore. This unsettles people deeply because they can no longer control or predict you. The art of disappearance isn't about ghosting everyone or avoiding responsibility. It's about knowing what deserves your presence and what doesn't. You don't need to explain your every move or defend your every choice. You can simply choose to step back from gossip, drama, arguments, or even relationships and let time reveal what words cannot. Buddhism emphasizes detachment, the ability to release what no longer serves you without bitterness or regret. When you disappear at the right moment, you protect your energy and create space to focus on your own growth. While others waste their time and reputation battling small, meaningless fights, you're quietly evolving, improving, and sharpening your mind. And when you choose to return, you do so stronger, wiser, and more centered, often catching others by surprise because they thought you were gone or defeated. Remember this: sometimes the smartest move isn't to fight harder, but to walk away silently. Let your absence become your silent strategy. Let your withdrawal create questions in their minds. Let your focus on your own path be the thing that ultimately puts you ahead, without stress, without noise, without even trying to impress. 7. Anchor yourself in inner peace. At the very heart of Buddhist wisdom is a truth that outshines every strategy, every technique, and every clever move. The most unshakable power comes from inner peace. Outsmarting others silently is not just about reading people, staying calm, or making strategic moves. It's about mastering yourself so deeply that nothing outside of you can disturb your center. Imagine standing in a storm while everyone else is panicking, but you remain calm, still, and clear-minded. Why? Because your peace comes from within, not from the external situation. Most people are constantly thrown off balance by their surroundings. Praise lifts them up. Criticism brings them down. Success excites them. Failure breaks them. Attention makes them feel important, and being ignored makes them feel invisible. This makes them easy to manipulate, because whoever controls their external world controls them. But Buddhism teaches that real freedom is inner freedom, the kind that comes when your happiness, focus, and sense of self no longer depend on what others do or say. You cultivate a mind that is steady, like a deep ocean that remains undisturbed even when waves crash on the surface. When you anchor yourself in this kind of peace, people sense something different about you. They can't shake you, rattle you, or bait you into unnecessary conflict. You hold your ground, not through force, but through calm presence. And here's the hidden advantage. When you are the calmest person in the room, you automatically become the one with the clearest vision. You see solutions others can't. You notice opportunities they miss because they're too busy worrying or chasing approval. You make decisions not out of fear or ego, but out of clarity and wisdom. That is the ultimate silent weapon. A mind anchored so deeply in peace that it becomes untouchable. Outsmarting everyone without stress is not about becoming colder or harder. It's about becoming so centered, so inwardly balanced, that no matter what the world throws at you, you respond with grace, strength, and clear intent. You become the eye of the storm, still, silent, and unbreakably powerful. 8. Win through patience and timing, not force. There's a quiet truth that many overlook. Patience is the ultimate form of strength. In a world obsessed with speed, instant results, and immediate gratification, those who master patience hold a hidden advantage. Buddhism teaches us that everything unfolds according to its own natural timing. No amount of forcing, rushing, or pushing can make a flower bloom faster, or make wisdom arrive before its season. Most people lose because they become impatient. They want to succeed now. They want others to respect them now. They want their problems solved now. This impatience leads them to act recklessly, make poor decisions, or expose their weaknesses too soon. They rush into arguments, chase after rewards, or push people away, all because they can't wait. But the wise person, the one who walks the Buddhist path, understands that patience is not passive. It's power held in reserve. Think of a skilled chess player. They don't rush their moves. They watch, wait, anticipate. They allow their opponent to make mistakes, to reveal openings. And then, when the timing is right, they strike. Not because they forced the game, but because they understood the flow and waited for the perfect moment. This is how you outsmart people silently, by resisting the urge to rush, by trusting that your moment will come if you stay steady and alert. Patience also protects your peace. When you're patient, you're not constantly anxious or stressed about outcomes. You're able to remain calm even when things don't go your way right away. You understand that setbacks are part of the process, not signs of failure. This kind of resilience confuses and frustrates those who want to control or defeat you, because they can't throw you off balance with delays or obstacles. You become like water, adaptable, flowing, yet unstoppable over time. So remember, you don't need to force your way ahead. You don't need to chase after everything with desperation. Outsmart everyone by playing the patient long game, knowing that most people stumble over their own impatience while you quietly move forward, step by steady step, toward lasting success. Learn to master the power of silence, Let others show who they are. There's a deep Buddhist teaching that says, if you sit quietly by the river, you'll see the bodies of your enemies float past. It's not about violence. It's about allowing time and truth to uncover everything without you needing to push or expose anything. Silence, when truly understood, isn't just the lack of words. It's a kind of energy, a presence, a magnetic force that gets people to reveal who they are without you saying a word. Most people fear silence because they link it to weakness, awkwardness, or being unnoticed. They hurry to fill the silence with words, defend themselves at the smallest sign of criticism, or explain everything they do just to feel some control. But Buddhism says silence is where the deepest truths are found. When you stop explaining, stop reacting, and simply stay grounded in quiet confidence, something unusual happens. People start to reveal who they really are. In silence, you can notice the feelings they try to hide behind their words. You can see their insecurities slip out when they fill the space with anxious talking. You notice the gaps in their stories, the way they try to impress, the brief flashes of envy or fear that cross their face. While they talk and reveal themselves, you stay still, calmly gathering insights, spotting patterns, and planning your next step carefully. Even more powerfully, when you stay silent, you become hard to predict. People can't figure you out because you're not sharing your plans, feelings, or intentions. They have no idea what you're thinking or how you'll react, and that mystery gives you the advantage. The loudest person in the room is often the easiest to influence, but the quiet one carries the most mystery and control. So use silence as your hidden strength. Let it be the space where you observe, the energy that unsettles others, the shield that hides your real thoughts. Outsmarting others in silence isn't about talking better or doing more. It's about knowing when to hold back, when to pay attention, and when to let others ruin their position with their own noise. 10. Build a strong inner foundation. Outsmart by growing stronger inside. Here's the deepest and most often missed secret of all. The real way to outsmart others quietly is not by focusing on them. It's about shaping yourself into someone so strong, steady, and self-assured that no one's actions can disturb your peace. Buddhism teaches that the biggest battles always happen within. You can learn strategies, watch people, and play smart games. But if you haven't gained control over your own mind, you'll always have a weak spot. Why? Because outer wins mean little if you're ruled by inner doubts, fears, or past wounds that haven't healed. Outsmarting others isn't only about clever moves. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to play games to succeed. Think of your mind as a fortress. A real fortress has strong walls, firm defenses, and a calm sense of safety. It doesn't panic under pressure, and it doesn't fall apart when under attack. In the same way, your inner fortress is built through self-awareness, emotional balance, mental strength, and staying true to your values. When you truly know who you are, deep down, you don't feel the need to prove anything. You're not pulled in by insults, fooled by flattery, or rattled by failure. Here's what most people overlook. They focus so much on outsmarting others that they miss the real goal, to rise above the need to compete at all. Buddhism teaches that wisdom, compassion, and presence build a strength no outside enemy can break. While others spend their time comparing, competing, and trying to be on top, you quietly rise by focusing on your own growth, sharpening your mind, healing your heart, and deepening your focus. This kind of quiet strength is rare and deeply attractive. People will notice it in you without you ever needing to say a word. They'll feel your presence, your calm, and your quiet confidence. You'll outlast and outgrow those who are louder, quicker, or more showy, not because you battled them, but because you strengthened the one thing they ignored, your inner world. So keep in mind, the true secret to silently outsmarting everyone isn't about controlling others, but about mastering yourself so fully that no one else can control you. That's the highest kind of quiet and effortless success. Real mastery isn't about proving anything to others. It's about rising so gently, so steadily, that the world has no choice but to take notice. These 10 Buddhist lessons aren't about tricking others, acting proud, or tearing people down. They're about refining yourself until you walk through life with a silent, unshakable strength. When you learn to observe before reacting, when you release attachments, when you understand desire, when you choose to respond instead of react, when you think long-term, when you step away wisely, when you stay rooted in inner peace, when you practice patience, when you use silence as a tool, and when you build a strong inner fortress, you no longer need to chase, compete, or prove anything. You simply remain calm, clear, and focused. While others get caught in the noise, you're guided by wisdom. While they waste energy on battles, you save your strength for what truly matters. While they try to outshine one another, you quietly rise above. This is how you outsmart everyone, silently and without pressure. Not by conquering the outside world, but by mastering your inner one. Let the world play its loud games. You will succeed by walking the quiet path of mastery.